Good morning and a warm welcome to you all. I am your school counselor, Dr. Sabina Dugar, and the speaker for today. Today, we are all here to celebrate the World Mental Health Day. World Mental Health Day is observed on 10th October every year to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and mobilize efforts in support of mental health. Now, this year's World Mental Health Day comes at a time when our daily lives have been transformed to a significant extent because of COVID-19. And this in turn has given rise to various mental health concerns among people. Now, mental health is one of the most neglected areas of public health. And 1 billion people are living with mental disorders, and social stigma attached to it further precipitates the situation. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has played a major role on people's mental health.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay. So if we talk about the mental health, people are talking about mental health all over the world. We've been thinking about how to take care of our mental health, and India is not far behind thinking about it. Now, if we talk about the Director General of WHO in the time of 1954, at that time, he cautioned people that there is no physical health without the mental health. And till date, we all are trying to give importance to mental health. And this year's theme for the World Mental Health Day is mental health, the unequal world. The unequal world because we are still not catering to the mental health as much as it is required. Now, if we talk about what is mental health, mental health is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential and can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to her or his community. Now, if we talk about the history of mental health, long time back, people used to think people who are mentally ill are possessed by devils or evils. They have evil spirits inside them. And the patients were locked inside jails. They were isolated from the society. So this is what the thought process of the people was long time back. But even today, in the rural areas specifically, still people think people with the mental health issues are possessed by evils. They are taken to all sorts of people, but not to the mental health professionals. Now, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions that are attached to mental health. And it's important to clarify that these are all myths. The first myth that people have is that people with mental illnesses are crazy. Of course, they're not crazy. We're talking about exaggerated situations. If you have a stomachache, does that or every time, does that mean that it's going to lead to cancer? If you search it on the net, stomachache because of this, it's definitely going to lead you to the cancer situation if you search the Google. So similarly, if we talk about exaggerated situations, we say people with mental health issues are crazy. Now, the second myth is mental illnesses and health disorders are extremely rare. Definitely, they're not rare. When we talk about mental health issues, today, 1 in 5 people are suffering with mental illness. Earlier, if we talk about the statistics, it was 1 out of every 7 people. But because of COVID-19, it is 1 out of every 5 people who are suffering with this. So again, another myth busted. People with mental illnesses can't function in the society. Of course, they can function in the society. Mental illnesses does not mean that you have to seclude them from the society. If we talk about stress, we all have stress in our daily lives. Does that mean that we have to be secluded from the society and we're not functioning in the society? If we talk about last year, we all were having so much stress about the online classes. How are we going to attend it? How are we going to submit our assignments? How are we going to talk to our teachers? How are we going to connect to people? How are we going to meet people? So we had a lot of stress, but were we not functioning in the society? So another myth busted. Now, you can't get better if you have a mental illness. So if you have a stomachache and you can get better, if you have fever, you can get better. Why not with the mental illness? Of course you can. There are so many facilities available. Mental illnesses make people violent. All mental illnesses do not include aggression and violence in it. This is again a situation we're talking about in an exaggerated form. So all these are myths that we need to bust. And we all need to understand that you all are not mental health professionals, but you all can be mental health champions, of course. So understand that these are all myths. Now, there can be a lot of types of mental illnesses. There can be anxiety disorders, there can be bipolar disorders, depressive disorders, eating disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders, sleep-wake disorders. These are different forms of disorders. Why are we talking about these? Because whenever we think about a mental health issue, we definitely think stress, anxiety. That's all. So there are a whole range of mental illnesses that are there. Now, how do you identify that you're going through a mental illness or a mental disorder? If we talk about psychological signs are usually not easily visible to people. So some of the psychological symptoms that a mental illness shows, that you start feeling sad. Without any reason, you're feeling sad. You have a confused thinking. You don't understand what's happening with your life. You have excessive fears and worries. Without any reason, you start fearing. You have a lot of worries inside you. You start withdrawing from people. You don't want to talk to anyone. You have problems with sleeping. See, there are people who sleep late at night, but there are others who used to sleep, like if you sleep earlier, you slept about 10:30. Now, because of your exaggerated thinking, you're not able to sleep till 2, 3 probably, or you're not able to sleep all through the night. Then you need to talk to someone that there is something going inside me. Now, problem sleeping, detachment from reality. You start hallucinating. You don't understand what the real situation is. You start forming cloud inside yourself and start living inside a cloud. Inability to cope with your daily problems. There are small issues that come up every day. For instance, you have 2 tests tomorrow and 3 homeworks to be submitted as well. So you start taking stress about that. That's a very small thing, but you start taking stresses about daily issues in life. Now, alcohol and drug abuse and significant changes in your eating habits. Either you start eating too much or you start eating too less. Then excessive anger. Without any reason, you start shouting at people, you start fighting with people, and suicidal thoughts. So these are the psychological symptoms that we have, but there are physical symptoms as well. Good morning. There are some physical symptoms as well. So now the physical symptoms that are easily visible to people, and you start realizing that this is happening with me. Can you please mute yourself?
Yeah.
Please check your mics. Everybody, please mute yourself. Thank you. So the physical symptoms can be fatigue without any reason. You're feeling too tired. You haven't done anything all through the day, but still you're feeling very tired. You have a back pain. So all these symptoms without reasons, you're not able to find the reason to them. You have a chest pain, digestive problems, you have loose motions or constipation for without any reason. You have a dry mouth, headache, you start sweating, you have weight gain or weight loss, rapid heart rate, dizziness. All these symptoms, if we talk about back pain, chest pain, digestive problems, dry mouth, I think most of us have seen that during our exams. When you're writing the exam, you don't know a question. You're sitting right there, you start sweating, your palms are sweaty, your mouth goes dry, you want to drink water, your chest starts paining, you feel like vomiting. So these are basic symptoms of stress that we have. So we need to identify them so that we can cater to these problems. Now, we all know how to take care of our mental health. But if we talk about mental health issues, we don't know how to take care about them. And just understand that mental health issues are equally important. Now the question is, how do you look after your mental health? Let's talk about that. First, start understanding that there are certain things, there are certain things that you can't control. We all try to control our universe. Everything in our daily lives, we want that they should go according to us. But just understand that the universe is not under our control. There are always two things in our life, things that we can control and the other things that we just cannot control. So try to let go of things that you can't control and accept it, that these are the things that we can't control. Like if we talk about COVID-19, taking stress about not being able to meet people because of COVID-19, sitting back at home, what if I get infected? Was the situation under our control? No. So why take stress about it? If you can change a situation, I would say don't take stress because you can actually change it. But if you can't change the situation, again, don't take stress because you can't really change it, right? So let go of things that you can't control. Second, what you can do is self-care, which is one of the most important things for mental health problems. Now, how do we take care of ourselves? Self-care, we often think is just about physical self-care, taking care of our body, getting spas done, walking outside, exercise, yoga, but there are other types as well. So self-care includes your physical self-care, your emotional self-care, social self-care, and spiritual self-care. Now, physical self-care, most of us know. It's like sleeping well at night, doing exercises, stretching well, going to the gym, taking care of your diet, yoga. But what about the emotional self-care? When we talk about the emotional self-care, we need to understand that stress is something that we can't run away from. But we definitely need to learn how to manage our stresses. So we need to build our coping skills. So start foreseeing that this situation is going to give me stress. I need to build my coping skills, how to fight that stress. Then you need to go for therapies in case you feel you're not able to handle your problems. See, like we have fever or headache or stomachache or any other physical health issues, we do visit a doctor for that. You have pain in your knees, you do visit a doctor. But what if you have a mental health issue? Why do we run away from it? Why not go in for counseling or therapies? A few sessions with therapies are going to bring instant change in you. But we keep running because, sorry?
Sabina, I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's someone by the name of non-violence. So
we won't admit.
Yeah, I'm not admitting.
Yeah. All right. So we need to understand that the social stigma that is attached to the mental health issues, we are the people who have to remove that. If we as young people start understanding that, we're going to change the world. But if we start thinking, what are the other people going to think if I go for a therapy? Then we're not going to help ourselves. Just understand, self-care is not being selfish. Work for yourself first so that you can cater to other people. So don't sit back at home and keep thinking therapy, loon ki na loon, what do I do about it? Just go for it. Then another thing is journaling. Journaling is writing down your problems, pen down your problems. I'm going to come to that later on. Now, social self-care. Social self-care includes your support system. You need to have a very strong support system. Your family is the first support system that you have. If we talk about people from classes 7 to 12, mostly we start fighting with our family members because we've entered our adolescence. We don't understand that this is the actual age where we need the trust and support of our parents the most, because that is the strongest support system we have in life. Second is your friends. So build upon your friends and your family because this is the age when we need them the most. Then thinking positive. You can definitely change each and every situation into a positive situation by the way you think. For instance, if you are scolded by a teacher because you wrote a wrong answer, you start thinking, ye to mere piche hi padi rehti hai. Every time she doesn't like my answer, she keeps scolding me about this. But you want to change that into a positive situation, you can definitely think about it like that I think she wants me to improve a lot. Probably she's thinking, agar maine ye answer paper mein likha, I'm not going to score well. That is the reason she wants me to rewrite again. So just give every situation a positive outlook before you get into a negative situation. Next is social media. Understand where to draw the line when you use the social media. It's good to vent out your feelings on social media, but understand the repercussions of it. Just don't cross the line on social media, because then it's going to hamper your mental health. And we all have seen that. Once you get onto the social media, there's no limit to it. Everybody is watching you. So be careful. Communication, talking to your friends. See, social self-care was very important last year when we were under lockdown. We found out lots of ways to interact with people. We had lots of Google Meets and online interaction with people, calling up all sorts of people. We had not even talked to them since last so many years. So we found so many ways for social self-care. So understand how important it is. Now, spiritual self-care, taking time out for yourself, sitting with yourself, that is introspection, meditating, praying every day. I hope all of you sitting here pray every day. Just give 2 minutes to God every day, just to thank for the day that you're going to have today. Then being one with the nature. We often go out for a walk because of our physical self-care. Understand about the spiritual self-care as well. Just being one with the nature. When you're going out for a walk, look at the trees around you, appreciate the birds around you, see the flowers around you, so that you are one with the nature. There are two ways you can take that self-care, spiritual as well as physical, when you go out for a walk. And sitting alone in a sacred place just to meditate for some time. Even if you meditate for 5 minutes, that is more than enough for your age. But just start. Now, exercise and yoga. We often think that exercise and yoga is a part of physical self-care. कि अपनी body को मैं healthy रखूंगा, I'm going to look good, smart. But again, when you do exercise and yoga, there are happy hormones that are released inside your body that keeps you fit plus happy. So take care of your blood pressure, your mind, your body, and your spirit. You feel good after exercising. In other ways, meditating and mindfulness, there's a difference between meditation and mindfulness. When we talk about meditation, meditation is focusing on something, focusing on your breath, focusing on any picture, any dot. That is what is meditation. But when we talk about mindfulness, mindfulness is being in the present. There are a lot of videos and audios available on the internet if you search for mindfulness. So there's music played, or they show pictures, or they give you instructions, and you start following that with your eyes closed, and gives you a lot of peace. It lowers your heart rate. You can relax, and you are there in the present. We keep talking about mindfulness because at present, it is important to focus in your present situation rather than thinking about what happened in the past or what's going to happen with me in the future. When you think about the present, you focus on your present, you start working for your future. But if you start worrying about the past or about your future, you're not able to focus on the present, you're not able to work for your future as well. So start doing mindfulness so that you can work for your future. Now, having a balanced diet. I think since class 2 or 3, we all have been introduced what balanced diet is. I'm not going to tell you what balanced diet is. Because when you have a platter in front of you, you're not going to weigh, iske andar itne proteins hai, iske andar itne vitamins hai. But what is important is that whenever you see your plate, 50% of your diet should be a fruit or a vegetable. And a bonus, if your platter is like a rainbow, colorful things in your platter, beans, carrots, strawberries, peas, so many colorful things available. So I guess your platter should be a colorful platter. When you have a fruit salad, or in case you have a vegetable with the chapati, have different things, have curd with it. We miss out on the important things. See, balanced diet, we are not going to weigh each and everything in our plate, but definitely we can see the different colors available in our plate. Also, reduce your stimulants like coffee, tea, and sugar. Now, sleep and rest, which is one of the most important things for this age group, but we are losing on it. Just because of the last year's lockdown, so many of you have got into Netflix, viewing videos all through the night, playing games, but just understand, until you sleep well, you're not going to have a good day on the next day. You're going to be irritated, your performance is going to go low, your parents keep shouting to take care of your mental health. How do you do that? Sleep well. At least 6 to 8 hours is required. Now stop the mental chatter that's going on inside you and stop catastrophizing things. Whenever we are in a difficult situation, the easiest way we have is thinking negative. Koi bhi situation. Can you please mute yourself? Please check your mics again. Somebody's mic is on. Please mute yourself. Thank you. All right. So in case we are going for an interview, the first thing that comes to our mind is, what question is the interviewer going to ask me? What if I'm not able to answer the question? Oh my God, I don't know the answers to these questions. Similarly, when you're going for an exam, the best thing that goes on inside your mind is, what if this question comes? I'm not prepared for this. So stop that negative chatter that's going on inside your head. Instantly change it to a positive thought. I have done this much. Out of this, I'm going to generate answers and I'm going to perform well. In fact, before going for an exam, stand in front of the mirror and shout out to yourself, I'm going to do my best. In fact, I also do that to my daughter. Before going to the exam, she shouts out in front of the mirror 10 times, I'm going to do my best. And I know it all. That's how you feed your mind. See, if you eat bad, if you go out every day, you eat unhealthy food, obviously you're going to have stomach ache, you're going to have stomach problems, you're going to have vomiting, loose motions, indigestion, because you had dirty food. Similarly, if you give dirty thoughts to your mind, negative thoughts to your mind, it's going to affect your body and your mind. So feed good things to your mind. Stop catastrophizing, means stop exaggerating the situation. Be there in the situation. Understand the reality. The reality is that you have learned it. The reality is that you're there for the situation. You're ready to face the situation. So feed your mind about that. Now, spending time with the family, one of the most important things again. Just a minute. Yeah. So why is spending time with the family important? Your bonds are nurtured. You have good behavior. You can discuss out your problems. See, whatever you show in front of your family is the reality. Outside world is not going to accept your reality. So at least you can vent out your feelings in front of your family. Discuss with them. Create memories. Click pictures. Play games. And please don't keep things to yourself thinking, what are my parents going to think about? Shout out your problems to your parents. You have full right to do that. If your parents are not accepting what you're trying to tell them you are the only one with whom I can discuss. Definitely they're going to accept you because they love you. At times, parents get irritated with whatever you say. But then they are parents. In the end, they're going to give you unconditional love. So sit with them, discuss your problems. Talk to someone. At times, there are some things that we are not able to discuss with our family. So vent out your feelings in front of a friend, a therapist, a counselor, anyone for that matter. Just shout out for help. There are people there who are there to help you. But until you express your feelings, people are not going to understand. And this is, again, one of the most important part of self-care. Work for yourself. You have the right to shout out for help. You have the right to tell your feelings. Until you vent out, vomit out your feelings, you're not going to feel lighter. And again, if you vent out your feelings, your brain gets clearer to think about solutions for a problem. Unless you vent out, there is a cloud going on inside the head and you can't find solutions to your problems. So please learn to vent out. Don't think what is the other person going to think about it. It does not matter. You are the one who is important. You are the one who matters the most. So work for yourself first. Now logging off. I want all of you to understand this and please start practicing. See, 9 p.m. is the perfect time to log off and for digital detox. What is digital detox? Like we detox our body. Digital detox is to stay away from the gadgets. If you think 9 p.m. is too early, make it 10 p.m. But just stick to one time. Just stay away from the gadgets after a fixed time that you have in your head. Do not touch any gadget after that. Just understand you're not able to sleep well because of the screen light that you have in front of you. The screen light that you have in front of you limits the release of melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that makes you sleep. See, in the earlier times, people did not have watches, but they used to sleep by seeing that the sun has set. It was all darkness around, so they could sleep well. But if we talk about today, we have all sorts of gadgets with us. We have all sorts of watches with us to understand that this is the time to sleep, but still we can't sleep because of the light in front of us that blocks the release of melatonin. So please let your bodies function properly. Digital detox is the way to have a healthy lifestyle. So please start following. Fix a time for yourself. Now, journaling and writing, that is what I was talking about earlier. Pen down your feelings each day. There are certain things we are not able to go and express to people, but just write it down. You'll feel lighter. This is what happened through the day. This is what I liked. This is what I did not like. Pen down your stressors. These are the stressors I have. How am I going to face them? How am I going to handle them? Also, one of the most important things, make a happy list. We often write down, these are the stressors that I have. This is the to-do list that I have to do. But also write down, these are the things that make me happy. So that whenever you're stressed, you can go back to that list and pick up a way and start working on that. Like if you think listening to music makes me happy, write that down. Whenever you're upset, please play some music and start enjoying. Please mute yourself. Thanks. Then me time. Me time means spending time with yourself so that you understand these are the problems in my life. This is how I'm going to help myself. This is the help I actually need. You can take decisions in a better way. Your mood improves. You start focusing better. You start enjoying situations. You sleep better. So please give some time to yourself in the day so that you can recapitulate the whole day before sleeping. Now, there are a few relaxation techniques that I would discuss. Can we have your cameras on in case it's possible? So that I can see you all also practicing along with me.
I have a connectivity issue, so my video will remain off.
No worries. All those who can, please turn on your videos. Does not matter if you're not in the uniform. Wherever you are, let's start practicing it. All right, I'm doing it. Let's see how many of you do it with me. So the first is square breathing. Whenever we are stressed, anywhere you are sitting, even during the examination, tomorrow when you go out for interviews, for competitions, just before the situation where you feel you're going to be stressed, right here, like I'm sitting here, I can do the square breathing. What is it? Just close your eyes for a few minutes. Imagine a square in your head. So with the first side of the square, we breathe in for 4 seconds. So it's... Then with the second side that goes down, hold for 4 seconds. With the next side, third side, breathe out for 4 seconds. And when you breathe out, that should be a loud breath taken out. It should be so that all your stressors go out immediately with the breath that went out. And then again, hold for 4 seconds. That is the square that we form in our mind. Do that at least 3 times so that you're relaxed immediately. And you'll definitely feel the difference. If you start practicing it today without the stressors also, you can start practicing. You'll feel better and lighter. So that's the square breathing. Second thing that we can do is belly breathing. Now, belly breathing is a fun way of relaxing yourself. You need to put your hands on your belly. Now you need to breathe in for 4 seconds. When you breathe in, your tummy should move out. You should feel your tummy moving out. So breathe in, hold for 4 seconds, and again breathe out for 4 seconds, and your tummy should move in when you breathe out. So just the opposite. And whenever you breathe out, make it a point that your breath should be loud and clear so that all the stresses are removed, right? So that's the belly breathing. There's a beautiful video available on belly breathing in case you search the net. I've shown it in the junior classes, so you can see that as well. Now, spaghetti toes. This is something that will not be visible to anybody that you're doing it. And we often do it as well without understanding that it's a relaxation technique. I hope you all know what's a spaghetti. In case you don't know, spaghetti are noodles. All right. So just like the noodles, if you talk about the uncooked noodles, they are absolutely hard. And if you talk about the cooked noodles, they're very soft. So what you need to do is, with your toes, imagine these are your toes, just like the uncooked, just a minute. Okay, there's somebody with STK10 in the waiting room. I'm not letting them enter. Please rename yourself. All right. So in case this is like your foot, your toe, like the uncooked spaghetti, hold it tight like this. Just very tight. Hold it for 4 seconds. And then like cooked spaghetti or noodles, release it softly. Just like cooked spaghetti, very soft. Do that for 10 times. Do it 10 times and you'll feel very relaxed. This is a relaxation technique. We've been doing it since ages, but we don't realize it's a relaxation technique. Sorry. Now, another one is progressive relaxation. So if we talk about progressive relaxation, this can be done at home every day before you sleep. For people who are unable to sleep, what you need to do is just lie down on your bed straight, just like the picture shown here. Close your eyes. In case you want to do it in a situation where you can't lie down, you can do it when you're sitting as well, right? So the first thing that you need to do is, like we were holding the uncooked spaghetti, you need to hold your head tight. Imagine that your head is tight. I'll show you with the hands. Like if we are thinking about the body part, hands, hold your hands tight for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds and then release for 4 seconds. Now what you need to do is with all your body parts one by one, starting from your head. So hold your head, just a minute, there are people waiting in the waiting room. All right. So hold your head tightly. Imagine that you're holding it tightly for 4 seconds. Then hold for 4 seconds and release it for 4 seconds. Similarly, all your body parts move down slowly. This is what is progressive relaxation. Head, forehead, eyebrows, eyes, lips, neck, chest, shoulders, stomach, arms, hands, all one by one. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do this. In case you're actually stressed before the exam, sit back at home before coming and do that. You feel a lot of difference. I'll show you with my eyes, okay, because all other body parts will not be visible here. If I talk about my eyes, just shut your eyes tightly like this. Hold for 4 seconds, then release it slowly and do that again. That's how you do this relaxation technique. Now, what we all need to understand, why did we have this session here today? You are not all mental health professionals. You're not going to teach people what to do. But yes, like I told in the beginning, you all can be mental health champions. Whatever you learned here today, you can explain it to people so that they start understanding how to help themselves. And one thing that you all need to understand is it's not weak to speak about your problems. Specifically, if we talk about the boys, the male people, it is often thought, we had a session somewhere in the class 8, and somebody wrote a beautiful article when we say that boys don't express their feelings. Why don't they express their feelings? Because since the very beginning, we say, ladkiyon ki tarah mat ro. What do you mean by ladkiyon ki tarah mat ro? Can't a boy cry? Does it not pain to a boy? Somebody wrote beautifully, Mard ko dard nahi hota. What does that mean? Spill some hot water on his head. Is it not going to be painful? So if physical problems can be painful, mental problems can be painful as well, and they can be equally important to be catered to. So please start understanding, even if it's a boy, a girl, all have pains in life. Speak out your problems. There are people who will help you. Don't ever think, what are people going to think about it? People are going to keep talking. Does not matter. You are the one who matters. You have so many committees in your school. Just understand. I'll just speak about 2-3 committees here. We have child-friendly committee. We have discipline committee. You can come up with the problems that you have, discuss out your problems. You have a counselor available all round the clock. Speak out your problems. Don't keep it to yourself, because if you keep it to yourself, you're never going to find solutions to it. So shout out your problems. And you are the ones who are going to stand up against the stigma that is attached to mental health, that log kya kahenge. Don't be bothered. There is no health without the mental health. We all need to understand physical health depends upon your mental health. If you're going through stress, anxiety, depression, your body structure is going to change immediately. We've seen people with stressors, their walk changes. As mental health professionals, we can identify a person just by the walk itself that this person is going through some stress. So it's not that your physical health is going to affect your mental health. It's your mental health that is going to affect your physical health as well. So please stand up against the stigma and help each other. In case you have a friend who's not able to discuss the problems, help her out, help him out and say, let's talk about it. I'm there to help you. That is what the other person just wants to listen to, that I am there for you. This is the most important thing that you can say. Now, mental health care for all is something very important, and let's make that a reality. You all should start working for yourself, start working on your self-care, and don't ever think that self-care is being selfish. No, until you have your cup full, how are you going to pour into others? So please work for yourself. Now, you all must be having my email ID. For all those who don't have, that's my email ID. In case you have any problems that you want to discuss, just jot down my email ID. And you can mail me anytime you want. You have my WhatsApp number as well, but don't keep your problems to yourself, right? Start shouting out for help so that mental health is no more the unequal world. Let's make it and bring it equal to the physical health. It's as important. So please don't wait for therapies, counseling sessions in case you find that you're facing some problem, right? Thank you for listening to me.